Hello, welcome back to my channel. This video is a cover reveal for my third book, The Two Foxes, plus other information, trying to get to know this book before you go into it. I know it's been 9 months, 9 months, where I first said that I was going to publish it. It was in like April 2022. Yeah, that didn't happen, of course, because it's gonna be published in February 2023 instead. But let me just, before we get into that whole story, we're going to do a cover reveal. I don't have the paperback, but I do have the ebook cover. It's gonna appear right now. I'm so excited. I'm just really excited. Two Foxes is actually a historical paranormal novel. Now, that is a subgenre on Amazon. I was very happy to find that out because I was having problems with it's not fully historical fiction and it's not fully fantasy, and you couldn't really even classify it as low fantasy because the only magic that is involved is that Sarah can see into the future. That's like extremely low, very low fantasy. And so I, even as a reader, but also as a writer and someone that has to market the book, it was getting to be very difficult trying to figure out which one it's in, as in like the broad historical fiction or fantasy. But then part of the ad school that I'm part of, Brian Cohen's ad school to be exact, I asked about the subtitle because I was trying to figure out the subtitle, and Scarlett, one of the ad squad coaches, said historical paranormal. Actually, that's based on what you've said in your summary, that's what it is. And I was just like, there is a subgenre of that? They're legit. Okay. And I looked it up, and fact. It's a fact. And I was so excited. Now, it's paranormal because she can see into the future and because she is deemed a witch. So, though she doesn't outright say, I'm a witch, basically everyone that knows her on the Puritan side thinks that she is a witch. So we have witches, and seen into the future. Now, what's the summary? The summary is that Sarah Thompson is an outcast in her Massachusetts Bay Colony small town of Blackberry, and she is to be married off to a man she doesn't know who's not nice, because her family they don't want her around. She is very rebellious and she is outspoken, and it gives her family a bad name within the church because of her acts of defiance and standing up for herself. She is punished a couple of times, and then when she survives it, then she is deemed to be a witch, and Sarah has to decide, is she going to defend herself in court, not a court of law, but in a court with her peers, or is she going to run away with her newfound family who she has befriended, and have all those risks involved if she runs away. This book was on Wattpad. I know there's a lot of people that watch me still that were from Wattpad, followed me over when I left it 2 years now. It's been 2 years. Thank you so much for sticking around. It's different. Second half is different. There's one part where I was, talking with my editor, who happens to also be named Sarah. And the second part, there's a specific thing that I just, as a pantser, I threw in there. That I didn't even get any negative feedback in, but it added to like more magic. But as I was talking to her last year when I hired her and we were working together, she was like, this plot doesn't need to be there. It doesn't honestly make sense, and I don't think that it moves the story anywhere or it helps Sarah or your story whatsoever. So think about getting rid of it. And so I did. And That's where it made the fantasy less fantasy. If I left that part in, then it would be more fantasy than historical fiction. But I agreed with my editor. I'm really open to change. If something doesn't work, if it's a plot hole and it does not make sense, then it's gonna go. It's gonna go. So those reading or that had read The Two Foxes when it was on Wattpad 2 years ago is not the same. So to keep that in mind, you read a different book than the book that we have coming out in February 2023. But all of the characters, yes, I had to think about that for a second. Yes, all of the characters are there. So we have Sarah and her family, and we also have Red Fox and his family. Found family, I don't want to spoil it too much, but the Found family is a local indigenous tribe that is no longer with us. It's the Pocumtuck tribe of what we call Massachusetts. I specifically chose the Pocumtucks because through my research the past 4 years, there were different reasons as to why that particular tribe is no longer with us, and it wasn't just one clear-cut way. And that is something that happened to quite a few tribes of North and South America. It wasn't just one thing, it was multiple things. So for that particular tribe, it was many of the members mixed with other tribes, namely it was usually Mohawks, but there were some others that went to different tribes and married and just blended their families. Another is war, and it wasn't just war with the Puritans, it was also with the Mohawks. That part was really interesting. If you look it up and you do some research, it's like an unsteady peace with the Pocumtucks and Mohawks for centuries. And then disease also went up to what was called New France. So there were 4 different reasons why the Pocumtucks are no longer with us, and I spotlight all 4 reasons in The Two Foxes. It spanned hundreds of years. It wasn't fast. Spotlighting the Found family and what that means to Sarah, and having to really learn to be a guest in someone else's home, and learning the culture and society, overcoming religious abuse that she didn't sign up for and she never really believed anyway. And that's where a lot of people during this time get into trouble with. So that's where the historical part really comes in, because I'm really wanting to focus on how this would play out if we were in 1653. If you go later into history, and then also if you go to the Southwest and the West in general, you can see that there are laws that were written that if you ran away and you joined an indigenous tribe and you were somehow captured back or you were brought back, then you would be punished for that. Didn't know that until I read Lies My Teacher Told Me, so you should look into that book. And I thought that was damn well fascinating. I had heard from family friends that are of indigenous descent that happened, and that also the people that did not fit into the patriarchal Christian society that they were born into left, and they would have rather chanced it and died than to be stuck, of which is Sarah's case. So that was a big inspiration, just listening to them and hearing those stories of men and women. It wasn't just women, or it wasn't just men, it was men and women knowing that they did not belong. I wouldn't say popular, but it was a known thing, and it's still a known thing that people ran away from the patriarchal Christian society. For a lot of those people that left, and it was better than being hung as a witch, and it was chance it. For the cover itself, my cover artist, Carmilla, great cover. She's done all my other covers. I do want to mention that she is of Indigenous descent. Probably more than half of the characters in this novel are Indigenous, and I wanted to have someone understand that and understand Sarah's situation as well. I don't want to go into specifics about Carmilla's personal life, but just know that she understands both sides of this situation, and this cover really helps shine through what is going on in the novel itself, because we've been friends for a very long time, and I mentioned this book and the story and all that stuff even before it was changed. The second half was changed, and she said yes to doing the cover, and I was really excited about that, just like all the other covers, but this specifically because I did want her to work on it and to approve of the story. I wanted Sarah, of course, to be on the cover, and that the forest, very important. She is told that the forest is dangerous. It's full of sin. It's vile. Don't go into the forest or else you're going to get killed. But she, in a fit of rage, depression, just all the negative emotions, after she's told that she's going to be married off to Joseph, she wants to know what freedom is like, so she slips out and she goes into the forest, and that's how she meets Red Fox, and how her life begins to unravel, but also good stuff happens. And the forest is her sanctuary. She runs away and she's chancing it. She's like, you know what? I'm not going to be killed by these damn men that don't like me. They're not on my side. And I have someone that I've befriended, Red Fox, who has invited me to live with his family. Why wouldn't I go? Because I'm going to die. I'm going to be hung for witchcraft. There is no doubt in Sarah's mind. Sarah and Red Fox both understand there's consequences for that, and even his family and his tribe both all understand there would be consequences for that, but she does see into the future. She does want to learn. She does want to unlearn a lot of stuff that she has known, because it's never helped her. It's never done anything for her. All she's gotten have been beatings and verbal abuse and religious abuse, and that's something that we should be talking about more, what religious abuse looks like and how that is used against people, and not just young women, but just used against everyone, and what that does to someone mentally, emotionally, and physically. And that is talked about in this novel, and it's an ongoing process, because it's not something that you fix, you know, within a few months or even a few years. It's going to take a lot of time to unlearn that and to heal and to understand that not everyone is going to be abusive in that way to you. I actually did not see like a mock-up for this book cover, but I was like, yeah, Carmilla knows how to do it. And like, go for it. I'm just, you know, trying to keep everything afloat, because we've both had a lot of personal emergencies over and over again the last year, actually. Not just 9 months, but the last year. So that's why it's taken so long. But thank you for everyone holding on and still interested in the Two Foxes. And I also want to give a shout out to my friend Salem, who helped me with the cultural, historical, and societal aspects of this novel regarding the Indigenous tribes. We had a lot of conversations about overall historical accuracy, and I appreciated that. I also wanted to shout out to my family, friends, and other friends that I've talked to that are also Indigenous, to discuss points of accuracy, contention possibly, or anything of that nature, the family, friends, and to be anonymous in a way, but I did want to shout them out for helping me throughout the years with this novel, because I think it's very important. The Two Foxes is on pre-order right now, but if you're watching this after the fact that it's published, it will be published in ebook and paperback. The paperback might be a little late. Still working on the back cover and the spine per Carmilla's comment a few days ago. But we're good. If you want to pre-order it, then the information for all that is down below. Or you can just wait until the 24th. I hope you have a good memory. I don't, so that's why I pre-order stuff. You probably have a better memory than I do. We all know that I have a bad memory in general. That's my advice. I do hope if this novel sounds interesting that you will pick it up. But either way, have a great rest of your day, reading, writing, enjoying some downtime, because we all need it, even though it's just the beginning of 2023. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye!